Hello everyone, myself Saraswati, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Science and Engineering, MIT, Mysore. Today, I will be starting with a new module called as Preparation of Project and Enterprise Resource Planning. So here, I will be covering many of the topics which includes the meaning of the project, project identification, project selection, followed by the contents of the project, formulation of the project, and the guidelines given by the commissions. When we are going to take up the ERP, that is Enterprise Resource Planning, you are going to learn the topics related to that is nothing but the meaning along with the importance of ERP, followed by the functional areas of management, where you will be learning the marketing and finance, followed by supply chain management, finance and accounts, HR, that is human resource, types of reports, followed by the methods of report generation. These are the topics which is going to be covered in this particular module number 4, that is preparation of project and ERP. Let us have a look into the first topic called as meaning of project. There are many definitions which has been given by many people. Let us have a look into each one of them. There are many definitions which has been given by many people. So according to the dictionary meaning, the project is nothing but a scheme or a design or a proposal that is intended to be achieved. So here, when the entrepreneur wants to start up a new business sector, so he has to carry out a project related to what kind of business he or she wants to do. So that particular object is called as project here. Project is nothing but whatever the task or the objective, that is what kind of business the entrepreneur wants to do, is nothing but referred as project here, right. So it has also been defined by the Harrison like it is a non-routine, non-repetitive, what discrete time, financial and technical performance goals. Once the entrepreneur is going to set up to do some kind of developing goods or services to the consumer, here we cannot say that is this in this particular specified time the task is going to get completed. They have to set the time from in which they are going to complete whatever the task that they have been set within the organization. We do not know that how much finance is required for different types of project that is going to be carried out by different types of entrepreneurs in different businesses. It purely depends upon what kind of business they are involved in, and also whatever the technology that they will be using in their project. All those things are going to be utilized in order to develop the goods or services to the consumers by the entrepreneur. So in order to reach the goals set by the entrepreneur for their particular organization, it is going to require some time along with the capital, that is nothing but the financial need is there in order to come up with any kind of business. Then another definition which has been given by Gilner is a project is the whole complex of activities involved in using the resources to gain benefit. As we all know that in order to do a particular job or the task which has been set within the organization, various types of resources which includes men, likewise raw materials, power supply, water supply and so on are going to be utilized in order to reach the goals set by the organization at the top level management. So here in general we can say that project is nothing but a task which has one or more activities that are interrelated or interdependent, and it also requires the resources in order to complete the project. So this is the basic definition related with the project. No matter the project taken by different entrepreneurs is going to differ naturally in size, nature, objectives they are going to consider, and the complexity they are going to face in the project they have selected. But there are three different attributes which are common for all the projects. Let us have a look into that. The three project attributes which are common for all the projects are: these are the three different attributes which are common for all the projects that is going to be carried out by different entrepreneurs in their businesses. That is course of action, that is they are going to take some procedure in order to complete the goal. So here they are going to set the objectives or the task for the entire organization, and it needs to be completed for a particular period of time. This is common for all the projects. Let us have a look into the next topic, that is project identification. It is one of the crucial steps for any entrepreneur, but it is going to play a very important role. So here, in order to identify the project which they want to carry out as their business, they have to have an idea about identifying the projects. For this, they are going to collect the data, then they are going to compile it and they are going to analyze it in order to just have a look into how they are going to invest in their project or the business which they are going to take up for giving it to the market. In order to give a particular project to the market, so in what way they can do the investment? By identifying some of the projects. In order to identify the project, they can have or they can use both internal and external resources. Some of them includes here how the entrepreneur is going to identify the project. There are number of ways in order to identify the project, which includes the knowledge about the potential customer needs. So here, if the entrepreneur has the knowledge about what the customer wants for them, so based on that they can get some idea in order to take up or start up their business in the form of project. Trade and professional magazines. If the entrepreneur are going to refer to the trade and professional magazines, they may get some idea in order to identify, or which may help to identify the project. And then government resources, by looking into the subsidies or the support which is going to be given by the government, it is going to give them an idea in order to select a particular project as a business. Then a product developed by the competitor. So whatever the product which is going to be developed by one of the competitor, they can take that as an influence in order to select the project. Then they also get a project idea by hearing the successful stories of any known entrepreneur or friends or relatives. Also they can get the ideas from the knowledgeable persons, means they can seek the help who has the knowledge about the different types of business that can be taken by the entrepreneur as a project. And also by observing the emerging trends, what are the emerging trends which are in demand for certain products is need to be identified by himself or herself in order to identify a better and suitable project for their business. And the last one is the scope for producing substitute product. So nowadays we have seen that there are many things which has been substituted with a newer product. So nowadays for milk, which we are all consuming in our daily life, that is it is going to come from the animals. So now some of the people have tried in order to find out the substitute of that milk without using the cow. You might have seen that, and also you might have heard about that news. So this is how for every product which we will be using in our daily life, a substitution product can be developed by an entrepreneur, and they can take it as a challenge in order to produce the substitution for any particular product of their choice, and they can select that as the project in order to carry out their business. So all these ideas are going to be combined together. When all these ideas are going to be combined together, the entrepreneur may get some information regarding which project needs to be identified. Means some of the projects they are going to list out, say maybe 5 to 6 they may pick up, and that they and from that they are going to finalize 1 or 2 projects. Initially for the beginner they may start up with only 1 project. So after identifying they may select only a few. It may be 2 or it may be 3, 5 or 6 like that, right? This is all about the project identification. Let us move on to the next topic called as project selection. Once the project has been identified, that means if the entrepreneur is going to decide that I may select 1 among 5 or 6 or 10 projects, then they are going to select, they are going to check out the pros and cons of each means the project which they have identified, and then they are going to select the best according to their knowledge, right? So in order to perform the project selection, they are going to make use of SWOT tool. So SWOT tool is nothing but SWOT. So this is going to be called or read as SWOT tool, SWOT. This is the tools which is going to be used in order to select the project after the identification of the project. S stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So SWOT tool can also be called as SCOT. So where W or C, weaknesses or the constraints, we can call it as, right? So weaknesses or the constraints. So here, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and the threats related with the project and the entrepreneur they are going to have when they are going to select a project needs to be analyzed. If I take project number 1 which has been identified by me, so what are its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats needs to be analyzed by the entrepreneur. For this they are going to make use of SWOT or SCOT tools, that is strength, weaknesses, opportunities and then the threats. So what are the strengths according to the entrepreneur? So here strengths are nothing but whatever the skills, what are the skills that are needed in order to carry out that particular project which the entrepreneur is going to get selected. So how much manpower, so which may be called as the resources in order to produce the goods or services, right? So how many manpowers are needed? What is the capital, that is nothing but how much amount is needed in order to do that particular project, and what is the technology they have to use with respect to the products and so on are going to be called as the strength of any project. This is how the strength of any project when the entrepreneur want to choose is going to be learnt or analyzed. Then weaknesses or the threats. So here whatever the strength or whatever the weaknesses they will be having, so how they can overcome the weaknesses if any in that project needs to be analyzed, right? So what are the constraints? If the entrepreneur is not having much money but he is very much interested in a project which has been identified by himself or herself, in that particular situation that is one of the weakness or the constraint of the entrepreneur we can assume. So how he or she can overcome that particular constraint, as an example we can consider. So the ideas to overcome whatever the weaknesses they are going to have. So that is going to be listed down in the weaknesses of the project or the entrepreneur. Then what about the opportunities? So here when they are going to produce the product, what could be the market share of that particular company's market? It means that if company X is going to produce the clothing, right? So manufacturing of clothes, right? So in that particular situation, so how much they can sell in the market is going to be measured as market share of company X, right? So how much profit they can expect in their business? What could be the life of product they are developing? What are the possibilities of exporting their goods or services to the other countries, So export possibilities can also be considered under the opportunities for any particular entrepreneur for their business. When we are going to look into the threats, so how there will be a competition, right? So who are all the competitors, right? Who are all the competitors they might be having for the same business? Means same business can be done by more number of entrepreneurs. Henceforth it is possible, it is essential for them in order to look for the competitor, right? So they might be having for their business, right? So and also they have to look into the important threat, that is how much of import of similar products is going to happen in the market. And they also think about the government policies, which usually sometimes keeps on changing and so on, or the different types of threats they have to make or they have to analyze while selecting the project. So in general we can say that project selection begins after the completion of identifying the project. Once the project identification gets completed, the entrepreneur is going to select one of the project as their business. In order to do the project selection, they are going to make use of the SWOT or SCOT tools, that are nothing but strength, weaknesses or constraints, opportunities followed by the threats. So they are going to analyze each of the projects which they have identified in order to select one among them. So they have to look into the skills required, manpower or the resources, followed by the finance, which we can also use the word in management as capital, what kind of technology that is needed and so on. Then ideas about the weaknesses to overcome whatever the weaknesses they will be having or they are finding in the project. So they needs to be listed down here. And when it comes to the opportunities, so how much market they can occupy via their business, how much profit they can make with the goods or the services they are going to give it to the market, what could be the life of product if they are giving the goods to the market. So what is the possibility of the export of their product to other countries. Then when it comes to the threats, we can say that there are many competitors who will be doing the same business. There will be always competition among the different entrepreneurs which are going to do or involve in similar kind of business. They have to consider that also. Then what are the possibilities of importing similar product to the market, and how the government policies is going to get changed from time to time, and all these things they have to be very careful enough while doing the project selection. While selecting the project, they have to look into different ways. That is, they have to look into investment size, so here in order to select the project, they have to make an analysis about what type of project they are going to take up. What is the investment size? That is, how much amount they want to invest for the project they want to carry out, that is the entrepreneur wants to carry out. So here, even though the entrepreneur is going to get the financial support from the financial institutions or from the banks, it is not always possible to run the business with whatever the amount they are going to receive from the financial institutions. It is always required for the entrepreneur at least 25% of finance needs to be made by the entrepreneur in order to start and run the business. This is about the investment size. Then they have to look into the technology that needs to be used to do the business. Here they have to select the technology which is very well known, rather than selecting the technology or importing the technology from other countries. When they want to import the technologies from other countries, it is going to get delayed, and henceforth whatever the time limit they have set in order to come up with the product, it also gets delayed. Henceforth, it is always possible for any entrepreneur in order to select the known and comfortable technology, right? So then next is location. They have to select the location in such a way that it is very nearer to the biggest city, and there is a good transportation facilities followed by the communication facilities, and there should be availability of raw materials, labors, power supply, water and so on. So it is not feasible to select a location to set up the business in rural areas. Means they may get the different incentives if they are going to set up in rural areas. Then next one is plant and if the entrepreneur want to come up with developing a product and giving it to the society, in that particular situation they have to purchase a plant. So here plant is nothing but the area where the manufacturing activities is going to be carried out. So that is going to be referred as plant. They have to either build or else they can purchase the plant which is going to have all the facilities which is needed. When they are going to purchase any kind of machinery or the equipments which is needed in order to do the production of the goods, in that particular situation it is always advisable to purchase a good machinery or the equipments, because it is going to have less breakdowns. When they are going to purchase a poor quality machineries, then it may frequently break down. In that particular situation, the development of the product is going to be delayed. For that particular reason, it is always feasible to select a good quality machineries, even though the cost is little bit higher, right? And the last one is marketing. Marketing is going to play a very important role for any particular type of business, because it is going to show the profit or the loss the company is going to have, right? So here, while doing the marketing, care must be taken in order to select the product which is in high demand, right? And also it is always feasible for any entrepreneur to look into the market share they may create for their business. So what is project report? It is nothing but a written document which is going to have the information related with the entrepreneur, what he or she wants to do and how they are going to carry out the process in order to complete the goals or the task or the objective set by the entrepreneur. It is a written document. Why it is needed and who is needed? It is a written document which is needed by the bankers or financial assistance institution. In order to run the business, entrepreneur wants the financial support, right? So the financial support can be obtained from financial institution or from the banks. Finance is one of the resources which is very much needed to run the business. Here the entrepreneur can invest some amount in order to for their business, and also they can take up the support from financial institutions or from the bank, private institutions or from the bank. So here when they want to give the financial support to any particular enterprise or the entrepreneur, they are going to look into the project report. Once they are going to go through the project report, they will be having some idea about how much amount can be given for this particular type of project. Based on that, they are going to decide how much financial support they can be means they can give for the entrepreneur to do their business. So for this particular thing, they want the project report. Entrepreneur by themselves can write the report or report proposals, or they can make somebody to write the report on behalf of the entrepreneur. They can take the help from other resources, right? So here financial report is also needed for an entrepreneur in order to obtain the license. In order to run the business, license is very much essential. So it is a must. So henceforth they have to obtain the license to do the business. In order to get the license from the government, they have to have this project report, right? So this is how we can say that the report, the project report is needed for getting the financial help from the financial institution or from the banks, and it is also very much essential in order to obtain the license to do the business. This is all about project report need and significance.